Well, hello there. Welcome to the Daily Show with Condor Calabasas. Forgot what the fuck I was doing there for a second. Let me introduce my co-host, known as Privilege and Body Worship. Here we go. Oh, that right. I think that's about right. All right. Now I'm gonna go through this fucking 36-minute podcast. Pretty much, it's near constant with the things that are worth commenting on. So we're pretty much gonna go through the whole thing. First, we gotta do a little bit of preamble to kind of explain who these people are based on my own research. First of all, uh, just to get this out the way first, Taylor Lawrence, I know very, very little about her. All I know is that one time she made fun of the Lives of TikTok lady, the Chaya Rychek or whatever, in public, and conservatives tend to hate her for the most part. I think that's correct, and that's literally it. I constantly get her mixed up with the Lives of TikTok lady. So I initially assumed I made I did like 15 minutes of this video already, assuming Taylor Lawrence was that lady. So yeah, that was a massive fuck up, classic dumbass moment. But yeah, so I don't really know anything about her. I'm not gonna act like an expert on her, and I don't think who she is super relevant here because she's not the one being interviewed. She's the one doing the interview. You know what I mean? So that's just why. Anyways, so then Alyssa Mercante, as I think I actually just thought of that. I love it. We're gonna call her Mercante. Mercante. Um, and let's just get right into it. She's um, been roasted for a while here. I don't think I have all the deets on why she's more or less hated, but I think I got most of the deets here. So we're just gonna do like a quick. We're gonna catch you all the way up here on basically why no one likes this person except for fucking feminists, men and women, feminists. Um, Alyssa Mercante, Frosk 2.0. I don't remember who Frosk is, but I remember Frosk being like one of the cringiest fucking incels I've seen like ever before in my life. And uh and yeah, so that tracks. I don't really recall that, but that tracks. Anyways, this smug narcissistic bitch is 100% indicative of the types of freaks, feminists, and weirdos that compromise the entirety of the activists who make up the modern video game industry, and they hate most of us old school gamers 100%. I more or less disagree. I think that's close. Um, there's like you look at there's Canadian outlets that are like totally not weird at all when it comes to the micro-dick social issues, sociopathic man-hating shit that like the entirety of Kotaku does. And it used to be Polygon as well, I think, but they seem like chill now. I don't fully know how accurate that is, but yeah, I do remember there's definitely one more, at least one more besides Kotaku that was just like basically filled with cringe lords. And then on the opposite end, to disprove this person's argument and why I disagree, is Game Informer, which is shut down now, but at this time they weren't. At the time of this tweet, they were not. So, or at least I don't think so. No, wait, no, I could be wrong about that actually. I'm not sure. Yeah, actually, I could be wrong, but yeah, I still think that counts though. I'm gonna go ahead and say that still counts. Game Informer pretty much never tolerated that social justice bullshit, and people misunderstand me when I say that. Say there's what's wrong with social justice. That's don't fucking mental gymnastics, you fucking dumbass. You know what I mean? I mean like being like I care about sexism and then being oh mansplaining. That's what I mean. It's fucking obvious what I'm talking about there. That's fucking social justice warriors for you. They care about sexism and they're the most sexist piece of shit. They care about racism and the most racist piece of shit. That's a social justice warrior, and that's why nobody fucking likes them. All right? It's like weird when people are like, "Oh, you don't like social justice warriors? You must be a conservative." No, I must be somebody with self-esteem who respects myself. You fucking pussy. All right, I don't really want to. Well, yeah, if I full screen this, this will remove my co-host. Yeah.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people.
This is like such a weird thing to say because she's like, first of all, what are you talking about, pussy? Like, why don't you actually say it? Because as somebody who's actually experienced real abuse, 9 times out of 10, somebody who talks like this is talking about like the most fragile, tiny, fucking unoffensive shit that highlights how they just need to see a therapist. And like, I hate to spoil the rest of this video, but this person is deeply insecure and deeply in need of therapy. This bitch is fucking nuts.
And maybe say it's not a good thing.
Of course, people do that already, you stupid cunt.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt.
Yeah, like, feminists talking about like mansplaining and shit, incel women thinking about the patriarchy that doesn't fucking exist. Shit like that. Incel women. Yeah, I 100% agree. This is why I talk about toxic femininity like this woman.
Yeah.
And hateful.
The projection.
And that the games industry is diverse naturally.
Yep, that's why we have it was like 90% male gamers. Tomb Raider came out, super inclusive. Men bought that because they don't give a shit. Gamers don't give a fucking shit what you look like. We'll buy your games as long as it's good. Unless you got some, if you got some misandrist incel shit, like say Dustborn, for example, then yeah, it's not going to be very popular, weirdly.
Not because anyone's making them be diverse.
Literally the only people saying that are like the most far right conservatives, and this is the kind of like mentally ill pussy ass shit that I cannot fucking stand. It's like these fucking, and I say this in a lot of my videos, insecure losers like this, the feminist men and women, they can only attack like the most pathetic fucking conservatives because those are literally the only people pathetic enough that they're capable of insulting. They're capable of dunking on. They're capable of punching down. Because you think women like this, or not even women like this, women and men who act like this with this fucking hard ass but clearly a total fucking pussy shit, they act like fucking cowards around me in public. I would make this little fucking girl cry.
Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker.
The projection of some incel woman saying this.
And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken yep?
As I'm not fucking around. As a humanist, as a left-leaning man who cares about equality and wants feminists to what should I say, experience the white male privilege. If she watches this video, I want her to know from me to you, I'm challenging you to a fight, however you want to do it. Whether it's on the street, like bare knuckle, as we're gonna talk in the rest of this video. She seems to prefer bare knuckle boxing, like in the street fights. So as somebody who survived real abuse and literally knocked my dad out when I was about 6 years old, I am so down to fight you in any way you choose. You name whatever it is, boxing, wrestling, real fighting, some stupid cringe lord UFC shit. I will fight you, Alyssa, if you're down. Equality and all that. You could beat up a man, right? And plus, I'm not big, right? Skinny dude. You'll totally win.
Up on that yet?
No, because we're all pussies.
Yep.
She's the biggest fucking pussy in the room, dude. And I just feel like it's worth mentioning that I don't know who I don't know who any of wait, I actually do know who this guy is. Um, I think I know who that guy is. If I do, then he's a fine dude, not really worth commenting. He doesn't say anything fucking cringe or anything like that. This guy Jeff Grubb over here, this is I'm not bullshitting. This is gonna sound like a fucking joke, and I wish so badly I was making this up. And I quote, "If you're not hyped or excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows, you are racist." End quote. Jeff Grubb. Not fucking around. He literally, he literally fucking said that in one of his fucking morning shows talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. He also said in another episode, like right after that, that like if you're not excited for the game, you're fucking stupid. Which to me, as somebody who has friends who don't fucking care that much about video games, I'm like, I imagine saying that to them and how fucking much of a fucking micro-dicked loser this dude looks like, dude. And this is the kind of guy who talks about like women and sexism and feminists and all this shit. Like he's a total expert on the ladies. I fucking hate it, dude. It's so fucking cringe. Anyways, I should probably fucking add this to my favorites. All right. This is basically how I got this link. Um, anyways, this I believe I don't really know anything about this lady, but she's a conservative YouTuber, I believe. Anyways, she agrees to fight her, and like, I mean, anyone with social intelligence is gonna know this. Like, Alyssa has no intention of fighting. The only way I'd possibly be able to get Alyssa to agree in any way or consent, as it were, to a fight with me is to make fun of her in public to get her pissed off enough to actually throw a punch, which insecure, mentally ill sociopaths, you actually have a good chance of making them do that regardless of gender. It's pretty sweet, and you can get them thrown straight in fucking jail, or you can just self-defense and knock them the fuck out, as long as you don't go psycho with it, just one hit. Which you better believe I will be. I can knock somebody out in one hit. I've done it before, like I fucking just mentioned. Anyways, yeah, so this woman, I'm not really going to get into this, but basically, this Vera Dark, agrees, fight, and then, Alyssa's like, nah, but she says, I don't need any of this to be on camera. We could just meet up if you prefer. Which is, like, so fucking funny. Again, as somebody with self-esteem, she clearly is, like, deeply, deeply insecure and socially just fucking brain dead. Like, you don't come off like hard ass saying that. As somebody who's actually been through real fucking violence, you stupid fucking incel, you come off as like a huge fucking pussy who's never been a fight before when you say shit like that. Fucking all you agree to a fight and then all of a sudden you're moving goalposts. All of a sudden it's like, no, it's at the bike racks, but no, actually, no, it's after school the next day, but no, I'm busy that day. Actually, I forgot I had karate practice, and like, we'll go and not the bike racks anymore. I think that the better place is like by the fucking parking lot. No, fuck you, you fucking lying, stupid fucking coward bitch. Don't fucking talk about fucking threatening to fight people. Don't act like a hard ass when you're a fucking huge fucking pussy and you never experienced violence in your fucking life. I'm tired of fucking privileged feminist women who have never experienced any hardship whatsoever acting like fucking hard asses. And the only people they can talk shit to is conservatives. They're fucking pussy. Like, bitch, I will make you fucking cry, Alyssa. And I can't do that to conservative women. Think about that, you stupid cunt. Think about that. I can fucking make this fucking stupid cunt have a mental breakdown. I can make her have a fucking panic attack. Anyways, this article I'm not going to get super into, but basically, long story short, she is suing a dude for basically, and she doxes him, and these are the fucking cringy ass fucking tweets that she posts, which is just too fucking funny. She's suing him for like defamation and all kinds of shit. It's just not going to work out. and she doesn't realize she posted these tweets. So he basically makes fun of this. I don't know if it's fucking there, but he makes fun of her saying this, I suck dick or whatever, which is just like too fucking funny. Yeah, her lawyer just like, yeah, classic feminist look. Fucking 0 out of 10. uh, this is actually really fucking funny. Um, Tarzia is this guy, I suppose. I know very, very little about this guy, only through Alyssa Mercante, which to me is so fucking funny. Funny. What a like self-dunk to get somebody you hate so much popularity. Like, my goddamn fucking moron. That would be like H Bomber guy fucking replying to one of my videos. That would be such a stupid ass idea. Anyways, Tarzia has declared Kotaku to be everything wrong with the video game industry. The fact that she's so offended that she talks about this and quotes it and is such a fucking victim, this is like a huge deal. That is like such. First of all, he's so fucking right. I love this man for saying that. Like, you fucking rock, dude. 10 out of 10. Couldn't agree more. But that's it. That's the diss that you're fucking so triggered over. My God, you know, like, don't you know that judges are like human beings that like understand logic and shit, and the judge is gonna read that and just be like, okay, these people are fucking dumb. That's not good. Like, that's a big minus point on your case for just saying that stupid shit. In fact, Tarzia created a petition at change.org to have Kotaku shut down. Hell yeah, dude. Stating we demand accountability from Kotaku. Hell yeah, dude. And exhorting his viewers to join this movement to uphold the standards we as a community deserve in the gaming industry. That's offensive. Seems like equality seems like the same thing that a Kotaku would do. I mean, they would like protest and shit, you know. They don't have any problem with Jason Schreier being misogynistic to what was her name, Leanna Rupert with her cyberpunk article. So why the fuck do they care about any other bullshit? Like, this is why I hate Kotaku. Is they act like misogyny is a big deal, but when Jason Schreier was a misogynistic psycho to Leanna Rupert, it's totally fine. No one talks about it. Um, yeah, nothing else worth mentioning there. Yeah, and now she's deleting evidence, which is she's deleting the tweets. Oh yeah, this is another one of her tweets that she deleted. On God, if I ever get fired, I'm going back to bartending and sex work. Fuck this industry. Happy International Whores Day. I used to be a cam girl. Sex work is work. Alright, and of course, it's super important for feminists to have their privilege checked, so it's very important for feminists, for me to let you know that that's a privilege gap between men and women, and that women get paid way more for sex work than men do. It's probably the biggest wage gap in currently in mankind. Weird how whenever the wage gap is mentioned, whenever this is brought up, the conversation gets silent. Yeah, that's why you don't actually hear about the wage gap anymore. Is because unfortunately, humanists like me tend to bring up the fact that male sex workers get paid like a fraction of what women sex workers do. You know, the entire industry is dominated by worshipping women, which is weird when you call that privilege, because incel women who talk about having their privilege, checking privilege all the time, don't like that getting their privilege checked. It's weird, you know. Anyways, so yeah, so she's extremely privileged, and she's deleting these tweets that she's also the guy made fun of her for saying these things, and she's now suing him for making fun of her for those exact words related to these tweets. So yeah. Anyways, that's the unhinged sociopathic incel. That is Alyssa. Let's get into the fucking
For
podcast
months.
itself.
You know, the next thing I knew, someone was posting pictures of the inside of my apartment.
Oh, she's such a victim, dude. Oof.
Remember Gamergate?
Women speaking out online have also been met with attacks via social media using the hashtag Gamergate.
Just to be clear, objectively speaking, Gamergate was left-leaning. It lasted 3 months. There's no evidence still to this day of any harassment whatsoever, and that's proved by every single person who claims there was harassment. There's this weird thing called the burden of proof, and if you look up what the burden of proof means, you'll realize that I don't have to prove it. The people making the claims of harassment do it. Unfortunately, Anita Sarkeesian herself asked the FBI to investigate Gamergate. They did. Then the FBI concluded that there was no evidence harassment or hate, and that's it. And unfortunately, because Jason Schreier is, a misogynistic incel, and so is, Alyssa Mercante, and, Kotaku, and a lot of people in the gaming industry. Unfortunately, this is just never talked about. This is just never discussed. And of course, if somebody disagrees, has any issue with this, obviously they don't believe women and they're a misogynist, because this is Anita Sarkeesian's words. This is what she said. She said she asked the FBI to investigate. That's what she said. Sucks, doesn't it? Anyways, so yeah, there is no Gamergate 2. It's this whole assumption of misogyny in Gamergate. It's objectively speaking entirely related to the subreddit known as Kotaku in Action. And actually, well, I could look it up now, but I think it's still there. But yeah, Kotaku in Action is the conservative sister or brother to Gamergate. And that's the thing that people are referring to all the time when they talk about it. At no point has Gamergate ever been associated with any misogyny whatsoever.
What started as an online spat about the ethics of gaming journalism quickly escalated.
All right, first of all, I want you to pay very close attention to what just happened there. This is like an extremely intelligent form of genius manipulation by ABC News here. You can see in the bottom left. This is how a genius manipulates somebody. All right, check this out.
Using the hashtag Gamergate.
What started as an online spat.
All right, so check this out. You have actual real tweets. We've got this guy's full name, his @. I think this definitely needs more sharing. Gamergate, not your shield. Not misogynistic in the slightest.
About the ethics.
Again, what appears to be a real tweet. Don't know what it says. We got like no likes. Doesn't really fucking matter. Yeah, again, all this looks like real, right? Just a reminder that there's again, the FBI themselves said that there's no evidence of any harassment, misogynistic hate whatsoever, anything like that.
Quickly escalated into a full-blown
culture war, kind of incel shit. You're projecting it was just about ethics in gaming. Yep. It's weird how when women get treated like adults, there's this weird misogynistic pushback like
culture war. It helped.
And here it is. Okay. They have real tweets. They have no problem doing the real tweets. But then they do this obviously fucking fake tweet. CNBC. If only we could be together, I'd give anything to drink in your laugh and your smiles. Fucking weird ass fucking tweet.
Catalyze the alt-right movement.
Yeah. Weird. Isn't it weird how they don't have the name of the tweeter? Don't show his picture. Just hashtag Gamergate. Look at that. It's almost as if no replies, no retweets, no likes. It's almost as if and 1 minute ago. It's almost as if like somebody made this and then took a picture of it. So I guess based on that, we can conclude that feminists are part of a misogynistic hate group, considering they'll say this about women and then use the hashtag Gamergate to act like it's not a feminist thing.
Which secured power and prominence during the 2016 election cycle.
Well, it's happening again. Back in March,
It's not even close to accurate. It was way earlier than that. It was like 2013, 2014.
journalist Alyssa Mercante wrote a story about how Sweet Baby Inc., a video game consultancy, had been helping gaming companies attract more diverse audiences. Alyssa's story was deeply reported and factually accurate, but the reaction to it
All right, my co-host is
quickly took on a life of its own. Within days, Mercante had been threatened, doxxed, and was the target of a vicious hate and harassment campaign that's become known as Gamergate 2.
What company? Oh, Mercante. Mercante was doxxed. Oh yeah, no evidence. No
Today I'm
evidence,
talking
yeah.
to Alyssa about what it's like to be at the center of an organized smear campaign, how she's fighting back, and why the mainstream media continues to be complicit in these attacks. Hi Alyssa, welcome to Power.
That ugly ass, this ugly ass fucking woman, who, by the way, just to be clear, she's clearly done a hell of a fucking job trying to look her absolute best today, was a sex worker and made money. But somehow she's like failed sex worker too.
All right, so for people who don't know who you are, you're a pretty well-known online culture video game journalist. How did you get
That's an exaggeration. She's actually known for being a sociopath with a victim complex. Real dishonest, Taylor.
started in this space?
I've been writing about video games for my whole life, but in terms of it being my career, it's been the last 5 or 6 years. I was at Games Radar, and then I went to Kotaku, which is owned by Geo Media, and my reporting has always been on video games and the culture surrounding it, but only lately has it kind of become the topic of everyone's conversation.
So you
Superiority complex. Common in feminists.
wrote this article about a company called Sweet Baby that really blew up and proved to be very divisive on the internet. It also seems to have sparked this months-long harassment and abuse campaign. Tell me about the article and kind of what
No evidence.
you hope to achieve by writing it.
Are we going to get any evidence of the harassment and abuse campaign?
What was the crux of that story?
As, you know, somebody who's actually survived real abuse, I like to see, you know, if you claim it's on the internet, then that means there's a hell of a lot of proof, right? Why the fuck are you hesitating to prove it? We just got a little montage at the beginning. Where's the little montage of the fucking harassment?
Sure. So in the darker corners of the internet and message boards that probably the average internet user would never come across, I noticed a conspiracy theory was kind of making the rounds about this particular consulting group and what they do in the video game industry. Consulting groups in the video game industry are a lot like how they are in the movie industry. They'll get called in by studios making games and do a pass on the script, or they'll offer insights into a character. Sometimes they do sensitivity reads. It's kind of like they wear many hats and they do very, very different things.
And the issue with hiring companies like this is the kind of thing that like a director can do themselves by themselves. And this is just like this is one of those things that happens when you have a fuck ton of money, you're really, really insecure, and you can be easily manipulated by people with like superiority complexes like Alyssa over here. So these people, I actually didn't really go over that, but like the Sweet Baby Inc. people, like they've literally admitted that they like to terrify people and threaten people and like push them and shit. It's actually unhinged and deeply mentally ill and weird how, and this is one of those things that I just fucking can't stand about being left-leaning, how there's some left-leaning pussies, no matter what somebody does, if they're an insecure fucking loser and they do something sick, twisted piece of shit, you know, like Sweet Baby Inc. saying that fucking shit in that TED Talk interview, what the fuck it was, I don't know. It's a total pass. Who gives a shit, right? Why are you even bringing that up? What are you, a conservative? It's fucking the most micro-dicked pussy shit I've ever seen. Like, these unfuckable fucking losers, dude. These are the kind of people that I make fucking cry in public.
This one consultancy group, Sweet Baby Inc., was being accused of forcibly injecting woke ideologies and characters in.
See, this is one of those sociopathic tactics, manipulation tactics. Um, she uses the word woke, and that's like basically, oh yeah, what's the term? Dog whistle. That's what it is. It's a dog whistle. And a left-leaning person using the word woke is a dog whistle. I'm not going to comment on whether or not it's conservative. Using it is or isn't, because I haven't really thought about it or considered it, or done any research. I do very little research on conservatives. I do most of my research on left-leaning people because I'm left-leaning. Anyways, it's a dog whistle when a left-leaning person says woke seriously. I don't know any. All of us left-leaning people with self-esteem, we laugh at woke or we laugh with woke. We don't ever use woke in a serious word way like she would. This is, objectively speaking, only exclusively a thing that a sociopath would do, and objectively speaking, 100% manipulation. The the goal here and how she's manipulating is that makes us left-leaning folk go, oh shit, woke? Oh, it's some conservative bullshit. It's fucking some psychotic shit. Instead, she could say like, oh, it's misandrous misogyny things. Like they don't like things like, oh, getting offended by attractive women's bodies. That kind of misogyny, or like, making small dick jokes and that being totally fucking fine, and like shit like that. That's what conservatives mean when they say woke, anyways. From what I understand, they're referring to the social justice hypocrisy, from what I understand. That said, I'm not going to pretend like every conservative is a genius who thoroughly understands what woke is. There's going to be just as many of those fucking dumbasses who don't understand it either.
Into contemporary big budget video games, and it
Fucking, yeah, that fucking, what was it? The Suicide Squad, they had the Mr. Freeze is Mrs. Freeze, and the thing that's so fucking funny about that to me, some of my left-leaning peers get so mad at me for saying this shit, and as somebody who I pretty much I had to deal with so much shit growing up that I just didn't give a fuck about anything that I associated with childish shit. Basically all of it pissed me off. Batman is pretty much the only thing that I could like actually fucking enjoy in the slightest. Anyway, so this whole like love of comics and shit and like comic book superheroes, I don't relate to any of that whatsoever. Um, so when people are like talking about like how much they care or they get offended by any of this shit, I just don't give a fuck. Anyways, the point is that I always say, if fucking Mrs. Freeze changing Mr. Freeze to Mrs. Freeze, not using fucking his wife, actually changing the character's gender is fine, or changing a character's race is fine, then when are we gonna get white woman taking the lead in Black Panther movie? If that's fine, then so is white woman Black Panther lead. Okay? It's so fucking embarrassing. It's such incel shit, and I fucking hate having to explain to insecure fucking dumbass losers that their stupid ass fucking fiction doesn't matter that much. And like, if you fucking care so much about inclusion, then make your own fucking character, you fucking goddamn pussy. It's like, one more thing before I move on. Sorry, I'm going long here, but like, people will be like, "Oh, woman James Bond." That already exists. Her name is Perfect Dark or Joanna Dark, and she was in the game called fucking Perfect Dark. All right? Fucking, it already exists, you stupid ass pussy piece of shit motherfucker. I hate you.
it was being used as sort of a cudgel as to why there was a black lead character in, an award-winning.
Nope. objectively speaking, false. I don't even have any idea what the fuck she's fucking talking about. Like, there's been black leads before and no one gives a fucking shit.
Game from that year, and I started looking into the people who had created this group ostensibly monitoring any game that this consultancy firm Sweet Baby had been involved in, and found that they had their own Discord, which is like an instant messaging service commonly used in the games industry, used for people who are looking for people to play other games with. And that Discord was full of racist, vitriol, homophobic slurs, misogyny, all the kinds of stuff that I hadn't really seen in that at that level online in a while.
Oh, that's weird to me because as a left-leaning humanist, I see it every single feminist gamer subreddit. Just yeah, shirtless men. Did you know this is the one that makes me fucking laugh? This fucking incel shit. Um, if there's this feminist like joke or mentality, I don't even know what the fuck to call it, where if one man is talking to another man and one or both of those men are shirtless, both of those guys are apparently homosexuals, and that's also the funniest fucking shit in the world to these incel women. And I love it so much when sociopathic incel women pretend like it's all the conservative men that are homophobic. Bitch, since I was like 18, the only homophobic people I've ever met in my life were always feminist women every fucking time, dude. It's wild. It went from like it being just fucking men being homophobic to just feminist women being homophobic. That like fucking total flop from like fucking high school to like real life.
So you noticed that Sweet Baby, which is this consulting firm, had been increasingly involved in all of these video games that were being, it seems like, the target of backlash, like you mentioned. So you kind of dug into what was fomenting that backlash and found this group of people that were really dedicated to tracking this consultancy firm, Sweet Baby. And it seems like producing coordinated harassment campaigns against any game that, I guess, deigned to partner with this consult.
Nope, that's objectively false. This Taylor Lawrence seems extremely dishonest. What actually happened was they created a Steam curators list, which I'm familiar with Steam. I'm not familiar with how those lists work, but from the explanation online, it's basically the conservatives were like, these are Sweet Baby Inc. woke games, don't buy them, and here's a fucking list. And as a humanist, what the fuck is the fucking problem here? Are you a total fucking pussy? What happened to freedom of speech? Conservatives are allowed to find their... You know, the thing that drives me so nuts about this is with a list like that, when a conservative creates a list like that, you know why it doesn't bother me in the slightest? Because now a bunch of feminists are going to look up that list and then buy those games. A bunch of fucking man-hating feminists are just going to spend all their fucking money. They've got Dustborn, dude. Alyssa Mercante 100% bought Dustborn. Fucking 100%.
Yeah, and honestly, once the piece that I published went live, and that piece also included.
Imagine paying money to like look at that woman's naked body. Fucking hell.
Interviews with the people who work for Sweet Baby Inc. because the goal of the piece was to sort of tell you exactly what a consultancy firm does and what it doesn't do, and try and debunk this theory in the clearest terms possible. Unfortunately, the moment that piece went live, the new conspiracy theory cropped up, which was that.
Interesting how that works. So she has nothing to do with it. She was trying to do the right thing, but she's not responsible for everything. It's just the conspiracy theories are out.
Games journalists were running.
These conservatives, they just have so much power, according to feminists.
Defense for this company, and then it just kind of the attacks.
I love this too. Wait, can I just go back 2 seconds here?
Then it just kind of, the attacks spun off of that and just started getting worse and worse. So any game that was even remotely connected to Sweet Baby Inc., anybody who worked at Sweet Baby Inc., a lot of conspiracy theory cropped up, which was that games journalists were running defense for this company, and then it just kind of, the attacks.
Hear that? gaming journalists were running defense for this company. About 10 seconds before that, she was talking about how she wrote an article defending the company. So she literally proved them right with her own article. No self-awareness. Fuck my life.
Spun off of that and just started getting worse and worse. So any game that was even remotely connected to Sweet Baby Inc., anybody who worked at Sweet Baby Inc., a lot of people who were just women or people of color or queer folks who were writing about this.
See, this is again another one of those sociopathic manipulation tactics, and it's like, it's in a similar way to the dog whistle. It's basically saying, oh, you're left-leaning? Oh, dude, these are the bad guys here. They don't like the queer people. They don't like the women. They don't like the people of color. We're left-leaning, and we hate people who don't like that. Which 100%, yes, you're dead on. Which is why it's fucking manipulation, because this bitch is the most homophobic, racist, mad-hating psychopath that I've fucking seen in quite some time. Fucking part of Kotaku. What a shock she's an incel. What a shock.
Or talking about this online, they were just the target of this harassment campaign, and it has not.
Have you ever been a man who said anything online about gaming? You can't, like, literally, men just get accused of being misogynist for finding women attractive like this, like my co-host. If a man finds my co-host attractive, that's misogyny according to feminists. Can you imagine that? Being an attractive woman and having other women attack your body and say that it just existing is somehow misogyny and sexist. Imagine being a thin, fully figured woman.
Stopped. It's been nonstop since March, actually.
As you mentioned, there are so many of these consultancy groups that go around and consult on things like diversity and also just helping these game companies, like you mentioned, appeal to different audiences, right? You don't want to just appeal to one demographic.
Which again, as I believe I said earlier, kind of highlights delusion and insecurity in these game developers. You guys manage to get gamers to buy Lara Croft games when they were all men. So obviously this whole like mentality that you need to like appeal to certain groups by doing this, that, and the other thing, it's this weird delusion that doesn't actually exist in reality. There is some truth to it where like if you're making a game like, Marvel Rivals, you're gonna have to be inclusive in terms of including different races of people, not just because that is literally the characters. They're all multiple races, and that's kind of like what X-Men and similar content is kind of like all about. But it's the fact that it's such a generic, like, kind of like play for everybody kind of game, but few games are that. Few games are massive multiplayer games that are supposed to rake in millions and millions of people, like Overwatch and fucking Valorant and Call of Duty. They're not all that. So this mentality that every game has to be the most inclusive fucking shit is some anti-intellectual dumb fuckery, along with the fact that any fucking goddamn idiot with just a shred of social intelligence can tell you how you be inclusive. Fuck me. And the only kind of inclusivity that the average game developer is going to fuck up is being a misandrous sociopath and saying like rape jokes like drop the soap or like he's compensating, micro dick jokes, shit like that. Actual fucking impression, actual fucking sexism. That's actually like a fucking issue, not body worship.
When you're making video games, why do you think Sweet Baby specifically has become such a target?
I think it's a perfect storm of stuff. I think it doesn't help that Sweet Baby is run by a black woman.
Again, another just deeply sociopathic attempt at manipulation. She's a good girl because she cares about black women. Also, you have to fucking love Sweet Baby Inc. because it's a black woman, and all these bad guys who are harassing, allegedly, no evidence, are doing it because she's a black woman. Did anyone know, genuinely, in the comment, did you know that she was the race of anyone who worked there? I knew that one of the workers is a white woman. That's all I know. And that's because she like tweeted and her face was displayed. And even then, I'm not 100% sure if I ever checked to see if it was actually proven if she was an employee, but that was a while ago, so yeah. Anyways, sociopath as fuck. No one knew that she was a black woman. No one knew that. You're mentioning it now because you're a sociopathic
named Kim
incel.
Belair. I don't think it helps that a lot of their employees are people of color or queer folks.
So are the men you call misandrous conservatives. So are all the people you're assuming are out to get you and harassing you and all this shit. All the fucking alleged Gamergaters that don't actually fucking exist. I don't even know what the fuck Gamergate is, since it hasn't existed for fucking, like, literally over a decade now.
Or non-binary people. I don't think it helps that the video game industry, which grew exponentially during the height of the pandemic.
This is such a stupid ass fucking thing to say. The sales went up and then the sales went down. A bunch of people, like, straight up, there were so many people, this was well documented, that straight up picked up gaming during COVID-19 and then went straight back to their lives and dropped it completely. Don't play video games anymore.
Where more and more people were buying game consoles and playing games that had never been involved in this industry before.
Yep, true. And then don't mention the fact that a lot of those people just fucking straight up dropped it.
And all of the video game studios started hiring more people, looking to make more money.
This is another, like, classic gaming journalist manipulation tactic. The gaming industry has done this for years and years. Kotaku did this and she bitched about it. Every industry does this. It's only gaming journalists that act like this is like the end of the fucking world and like we all need to fucking bring out a fucking violin to fucking cry for fucking some fired fucking game developer. That, by the way, unlike a lot of other industries, game developers, talented people who work in games, there's very high, I believe it's called retention, where they're more likely to be rehired. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but yeah, they're more likely to be rehired within that industry. And it happens a lot in the game
Which
industry.
resulted in mass layoffs the last 2 years. I think people have also...
This is what I hate about gaming journalists, because like it's a piece of piss to include context. But why am I so much better at doing this than gaming journalists? Genuinely. This isn't hard.
So notice that there is a perceived decrease in quality of some types of games, games that are made with microtransactions so that you'll buy the game, but then you'll keep buying stuff in that game because you want to wear a cool outfit or you want to have a cool weapon. And those games are launching and then failing kind of miserably. And Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in 1 or 2 games that did not do very well. But unfortunately, what happened with Sweet Baby is it just became this kind of catch-all term for...
The thing that's kind of wild about that is Sweet Baby Inc. is definitely involved in Suicide Squad, right? Or whatever that game was. I don't know if it's called Suicide Squad. I get it mixed up with the other one that's very similar and came out around the same time. That's also like 4-player co-op or 3-player co-op. I don't know. Anyways, so they have the Mr. Freeze character gender swapped. So why weren't they commenting on how that could be uninclusive? How that could be an issue. Interesting how they would not know that. That could be seen as, misogynist, considering it's, as Anita Sarkeesian would say, it's a deeply misogynistic thing that's like a Mrs. version of the same character, when you could just be, creative and create your own character. Of course, it's the only thing Anita Sarkeesian said that I agree with, and it's the only thing every feminist on the planet disagrees.
Anything that they deem to have any sort of DEI in it, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Again, that's third sociopathic tactic we've seen so far, and we're only fucking 5 minutes in. Using the term DEI in the same way she used the term woke. Use terms that we left-leaning people use. Don't talk like you're a conservative edgelord trying to fucking act like everybody who disagrees with you is a fucking conservative, you fucking incel.
So if there was something that had a black character or a female lead, it was Sweet Baby treatment. Sweet Baby must have touched it. So
nope. Not accurate.
Now it's kind of spun out into a lore that in many cases is completely untrue, that this development company hasn't even worked on most of these games.
They did work on the one with the Mrs. Freeze though, right? It's funny how sociopaths do this. They'll like fucking laugh about this like it's the funniest thing, and she's so clearly mad. Why do the fake laugh, you fucking stupid incel? You're not believable.
About a decade ago, there was this movement online called Gamergate, which obviously you and I are very familiar with. It was this really coordinated harassment campaign against a bunch of women in video games.
Objectively speaking, false. FBI disproved this, and anyone who thinks like this is a misogynist who doesn't believe women like Anita Sarkeesian.
Journalism, bad faith attacks, and smears. And it was really
objectively speaking, false and a lot of projection.
This ultimately served as a sort of blueprint for how the far right would come to weaponize the internet.
Where's the far right? Where are they? Where are they hiding? Are they behind the couch? Are they back? Where are they? Cause I'm left leaning and Gamergate is left leaning and women were never harassed. Do you have any proof, you stupid cunt? Welcome to equality. White male privilege. You gotta hook you up with the gender jokes, you stupid bitch, you stupid cunt. You know, men get called, micro dick. Like all the small dick jokes and what like. Yeah, what like. I'm going with what like.
That received quite a bit of attention after the fact. There was a bunch of think pieces about it in 2017, 2018, 2019.
That's weird. 2017, 2018, 2019. That would be like a minimum of like 5 years. No. Oh, I'm terrible at math. 4 years after it happened.
Like, wow, wasn't that bad, right? Good thing.
Yeah, wow, what a bunch of fucking pussies. Somebody who's actually experienced real abuse. Can we actually bring back bullying and start bullying these fucking pussies who cry about Gamergate? Holy shit.
That was over. It does seem like, though, things kind of went underground or at least weren't so bad for a while. In the past year, really with this new sort of campaign against Sweet Baby and some of the journalists involved like you, it seems like we're experiencing almost a Gamergate 2.0. What do you think?
I hate this stupid ass fucking incel shit. Like, you're not a victim. You like desperately. I'm not even trying to be mean here. You seriously need to see a therapist if you think like this. Like, this is some fucking unhinged shit. This is like you think you're a fucking victim shit.
Has led to this resurgence.
There's so many things, and I keep saying perfect storm, and it feels like a cliche that I've repeated so many times when talking about this, but it is sort of that. It's being an election year and all of the kind of political disagreements and conversations that happen around an election year.
I can't even believe I need to say this. Some Americans are so fucking stupid. They had this mentality that every single group, every single thing they interact with is an American thing. And I have to tell you, Gamergate is about as worldwide as movements get. Okay? Yeah. Again, left-leaning, not misogynist, no evidence of harassment, according to the ugliest bitch on the planet, hashtag white male privilege, Anita Sarkeesian. So, yeah. Awkward.
Certainly make the internet an interesting place. I mean, we know that the far right and the people who helped propped up Donald Trump's first run for president.
I'm Canadian, you stupid bitch.
We're directly pulling from the playbook of Gamergate, and I don't think it's a...
Directly from the playbook. I hate how mentally ill, unhinged shit like this feminists can just say, and it's like they don't have to back it up. They know they got that white woman privilege, and they don't have to explain a
coincidence that we started seeing it kick up again during an election year. And you can see that there are people who are in the now president-elect circle saying very similar things to what Gamergate 2.0 or the people who are inciting this harassment campaign say in terms of
the amount of reaching and mental gymnastics that was just said. I'm not even gonna.
You know, this company's infested with DEI, or we need to end wokeness, and the issues that the gamers have with video games.
The way she says gamers makes her come off like such an incel, dude. You've never been fucked before,
and
clearly.
the diversity of the industry.
Straight up, this is, I'm not even like trying to be mean here, but again, like this is literally what adult virgin women act like. If you've ever met one, you know what I'm
Can
talking
easily
about.
be applied to larger political issues that they may have, and this sort of belief that there's this massive, countrywide conspiracy to elect people or put people into jobs who don't deserve it because
A conspiracy? You mean like talking about Gamergate 2.0 that doesn't exist? This harassment campaign that doesn't exist, you got no proof of? Conspiracy like that kind of conspiracy?
they're a minority, or to cancel people because they don't think that that's fair. And I
Yeah, again, the sociopathic dog whistle there. They're a minority. Um, well, white men aren't a minority, and they would, objectively speaking, make up the most oppressed in groups of people. They make up majority, well, besides black men, concerning the statistical imbalance there. But white men make up the majority of homelessness, murder victims, just people oppressed in general, etc., so on and so forth. So weird. Why bring up minorities? They have just as much privilege as anyone else. Weird thing, weirdly sociopathic and racist thing to say, bringing up minorities.
think that, combined with the way that Gamergate just kind of eventually disappeared, also meant that
So it's here, but it's disappeared. It's everywhere. It's 2.0, but it's
a
gone.
lot of the major players in the video game industry didn't really have to acknowledge it. You didn't have to have Microsoft say,
So the only reason why Microsoft, Xbox, PlayStation didn't talk shit about Gamergate is because it's gone, but it's also here and it's 2.0.
this is screwed up and you shouldn't do this. Or Sony say, we stand with the people who you are accusing of not being ethical in terms of journalism. And I think what happened when this started kicking up again in March was there were a lot of major companies and a lot of major people in the industry who kind of stuck their head in the sand, hoping and praying that they wouldn't get the eye of Sauron on them, that they wouldn't start to get these people looking at them and attacking them. And unfortunately, that ends up being a sort of tacit approval of the way that these people are behaving, or at least giving.
Again, this is like one of those sociopathic mental gymnastics things that only a deeply, deeply, deeply insecure and sociopathic individual would even consider thinking or saying. The idea that Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo are somehow supporting in any way this conspiracy theory that you have about this non-existent harassment campaign is completely fucking insane, to say the fucking least.
Giving them the space to feel like, well, they can continue to get away with this.
It seems like this
What? None of that makes any sense, you stupid bitch.
campaign has obviously spanned the internet. It's all over YouTube, Twitch, every social platform. But so much of
I love it when journalists make claims and then don't back them up whatsoever. Make extreme claims that if a man was doing the exact same thing, feminists would be like, prove it, prove it, prove it.
this coordinated harassment and attack stuff seems to be happening on Twitter, or X rather now, especially under Elon. What role do you think
I hate when people act like Twitter is like worse now under Elon. You used to be able to say hashtag kill all men and not be banned. Just a reminder.
has Elon's act
That was before Elon.
and its sort of toxic algorithm played in boosting this Gamergate 2.0?
There's a couple of
Again, do you want to provide one example of it existing?
things. First of all, the terms of service that X/Twitter has in place are clearly not being policed or monitored as well as they should be, or as well as they were before Elon Musk took over. There are clear-cut
As well as they were before Elon Musk took over. Like I just said, hashtag kill all men did not get you banned. I got IP banned from Twitter for saying hashtag kill all feminists. As a joke. It's funny,
violation.
okay? Feminists, I have nothing against feminists besides the fact they're unfuckable incels. Why would I want them to go away? They're the best. No one's more fun to make fun
of
of.
terms of service. I mean, people with slurs in their names.
But it's not just
People with slurs in their names, you know, like mansplaining or something like that. Fucking these incel women are such
the
victims.
terms of service, right? Like, I guess
People, they had like slurs in their names. So fucking report it, you pussy. Jesus.
Oh,
what
no.
role do you think the actual algorithm plays in the fact that you have these like right-wing figures that are able to amass so much power on that platform?
I mean, it has to do with the monetization also of hatred and harassment.
The right wing are out to get us in the hatement and harassment. It's like the fucking feminist victim complex fucking bingo. You got the check boxes. You fucking. I've gotten 5 bingos already. How about you guys?
I mean, you can buy a blue check now, and you can farm engagement off of that by. So
Oh,
you can buy to have your account have a blue check next to it and earn money off of all of the engagement on your tweets. And so, if you tweet something incredibly controversial or
Yeah, like feminists saying incel shit like they do.
something that's going to get a lot of interactions, you're going to get more money. And
Yep. Exactly what feminists do. I only see feminists making money.
And
off
those
that
things
shit.
are also boosted through the algorithm to people's homepages. I mean, I obviously have another Twitter account that I use to monitor things, and that account is the entire homepage is just filled with absolute horrible, racist, homophobic, transphobic, harassment, abuse, all of these things. And it's just
Yeah, you should try being a man. It's way worse for me.
not stopping, it's not being taken down, and it's being pushed to the top of the page and pushed.
Wow. Equality sucks. It's weird how, like, feminist women get super upset about equality. I thought this is literally what you wanted. This is what you were asking for.
Into people's eyes, and they're rewarding that by giving people monetary payouts for when their tweets hit big.
Talk to me about
It's like when you'll notice feminists do that when they think they can get away with saying it's just men, they'll say men. When they know they can never get away with saying it's just women, because that'll always, as somebody left-leaning, that'll just always get you accused of being a misogynist by insecure misogynist incels, coincidentally. Oh, fuck, what was I gonna say? Fuck, I lost my train of thought.
the structure of these harassment campaigns, because I feel like there's a few big people at the top that are these mainstream content creators that are sort of instigators, but they love to wipe their hands of these things and say, well, I didn't do anything. I didn't personally call for, XYZ. Can you sort of walk
You're literally talking to somebody who did that exact same thing.
me through the hierarchy of how these different sort of harassers operate and where they land?
What a weird-ass question to ask. How would she know she isn't them unless you think she's an expert on harassment?
Usually always in this instance of harassment campaigns, a few leaders who are most of the time very careful with what they say and what they share. You're rare that you're going to see someone who has 150, 250,000 Twitter or X followers outright incite violence or threaten someone or anything like that. But
You'll see feminists do it, though. Straight up, not even fucking around. You will literally see that.
what they will do is they will point ceaseless harassment at, or they will point endless fingers towards specific people in a way that they think is coy by saying, oh, well, I know this person, and here's a picture of clearly a person of color is involved in this game that didn't do well, and they probably don't like you, the gamer, and they rile up a big.
I've literally never seen what she's talking about. I wish she had some proof so I could actually, take her side here.
Of smaller content creators who tend to be a little bit more loose with the stuff that they say, a little bit less careful with what they're inciting, a little bit more harassy with their videos and their comments, and then
She's just describing feminists.
below that you get sort of like anonymous foot soldiers that are just in droves, and those are the people who often or not are the ones in my inbox or in other people's inbox with outright threats, or in my
Yep, that's what I get from feminists all the time.
emails, in my Instagram, finding my family's information, those anonymous people who are
Literally,
watching all of this content.
The amount of feminists that try and find where I live, dude. You wouldn't fucking believe
and
it.
taking in all of this content and being pointed towards people that they should be angry towards for some reason. They're not sure why. And that's when you end up getting this sort of wave and crest of harassment, because the leaders are just innocently pointing out people, but the undertones are very clear what they want to happen there, and it's the foot soldiers that will always carry that out.
So you wrote this story on Kotaku, and it kind of blows up. It becomes this viral piece of journalism that, of course, all of these awful people hate. Tell me what happened next to you.
Part of the reason why it got so bad for me in terms of harassment was because I refused to back down, and I refused to apologize for nothing that I had done wrong, but just
This is like some weird ass mental gymnastics that doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. Psychologically speaking, you not backing down would actually decrease the backlash and empower you and also get you a lot of followers. So it's actually the easier route to push back. This is actually just like a little life pro tip about psychology speaking. That is like the best thing to do in super serious fucked up situations. Like genuinely, I fucking can't stand this incel cunt, but I have to give her credit here. That is exactly what she should have done. That said, acting like that's the reason why she's getting more harassment is quite the opposite. If she just fucking backed down, it would be way worse.
just for being who I was. And
Just for being who I was. You mean being a fucking misogynistic
in the
incel?
immediate aftermath, there was a lot of finger pointing that this piece was untrue or purposefully leaving things out or none of this is correct.
Sound to me that tracks. It sounds like something. This woman does not come off like she's honest in any way whatsoever. She comes off like a mentally ill incel who needs to see a therapist.
And when I was pushing back at that, that started kind of the waterfall of harassment. So I started becoming.
So yeah, she started talking shit and decided her harassing people, I guess. She decided to dox that guy and reveal where his family lived, and he also contacted the one dude's wife on Twitter and started sending her, no, on Facebook, sorry, and sending her DMs. I guess she's gonna mention that in the next few seconds, right?
This kind of stand-in for everything that was wrong with games journalism. My face is plastered over hundreds of YouTube videos, watching my every move. I was getting threats in my work email and my personal.
Equality sucks, doesn't it? It's weird how, like, when men do the same thing, they just get fired. You know, they're just canceled. But, like, when insecure incel women do the same shit, it's backlash. No, you're being canceled. This is cancel culture.
Personal email.
We don't like you. It's like that video that I just watched earlier. We don't like you. You're a piece of shit. Get the fuck out.
I had to
Bring
warn
back
my
bullying.
parents to be careful because their address was circulating.
Oh no, you're such a victim. Yeah, feminists do that to men all the time. I would fucking know.
And it was just kind of your bog standard harassment campaign. They go after every piece of social media you have. They try and find every bit of personal information they can.
Feminists.
And they're kind of obsessing over everything you do. I was joking that they like probably had my menstrual cycle charted, but it really feels like that at a certain point. Like it is nonstop.
But it really feels like that. So that's still your joke.
And it's every breath you take.
No. This is what a superiority complex looks like in a victim complex. She likes to, if it's not that serious and you can joke about it like that, then obviously the harassment isn't something you're taking seriously in the slightest. So clearly you're not.
Somebody is archiving it and putting it in these darker corners of the web, which eventually bleeds into the more typical places that people would go, like Twitter and YouTube.
And how has that affected your ability to do journalism and to further cover these issues?
I mean, it does feel in some ways like you're a pariah. Like there's a lot of people in the industry who have been incredibly supportive to me in private, but not as supportive as I'd like them to be in public.
Yeah. They'd be fucking roasted, deservedly slow. Jesus Christ. What kind of fucking loser would defend such a fucking sociopathic, misogynistic incel like this?
And, you know, my company, when I was at GeoMedia, was very clearly unhappy with what was going on and very clearly unhappy with the way that I was reacting to it. And
Good. They should have been. I would have fired you so fucking
It
fast.
ended up reaching a head where I could no longer work there. It wasn't working for anybody. And now I'm in this sort of in between where I really want to keep reporting on this stuff. I think it's crucial to keep reporting on this stuff. I don't want to disappear because that is what the goal of that harassment campaign. Oh,
This is like the exact same thing I just dealt with this with a feminist woman. The exact same thing. That's the goal. She's saying that's the goal of the harassment campaign, despite no evidence. Uh, I'm not even fucking playing around here. Like, I wish so badly, like, more people understood psychology so this was more obvious to people. But objectively speaking, this is a delusion she made up entirely in her head. There's 0% chance she's basing that claim right there on literally anything. That is that is just textbook fucking delusion and confirmation bias. She's convinced herself she's a victim, and that's just how it is now.
always is. It's why when people have been making videos about me, they've said, well, why didn't you just go the way of Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian, who were two women that were kind of focal points of the first Gamergate, who
Two of the most misogynistic incels on the planet. Literally, they think this is sexism. But you'll notice, especially on Anita Sarkeesian's like YouTube comment, or sorry, YouTube channel, uh, sexually objectifying men is actually totally fucking fine and super hot, and she fucking loves it, dude. Fucking makes her pussy wet, which is hilarious when you think about it. Like, of course, somebody like Anita Sarkeesian fucking hates men. That woman looks. That is literally the ugliest woman I've seen in my life. I'm not even fucking around. Even this hideous looking bitch is fucking better looking than Anita.
drastically decreased their internet presence over the last decade. They want you to go away and they want to scare you off the internet.
That's because feminists don't support them. That's because feminists are a bunch of insecure. The thing about feminists that people really don't understand is for feminists, it's all about like they can't have any woman be on top of the pedestal because they want to be the biggest victim, basically, and they want to be the most superior. It's the victim complex and the superiority complex. So anytime a woman like Anita Sarkeesian fucking became basically the most number one feminist with a victim complex, which is like basically like the number one goal. That is like the dream for feminists. So when she achieved that, a bunch of feminists got wicked jealous. So there's no fucking way she's gonna retain that popularity. Ask feminists why they don't watch Anita Sarkeesian, why they don't like feminist frequency. They fucking don't even mention it. It's because she's more of a fucking victim than they are, and they want to feel like they're the biggest victim. It's some mentally ill bullshit.
Internet, and I just kind of am refusing to do that, but it does make it very hard because
I'm just kind of refusing to do that. She's already done that.
then you start to wonder how many companies want to publish something with my byline because they're going to get dogpiled on or they're going to start to get harassed. And I've seen it in a small scale with my recent bylines at Rolling Stone. They're just, anytime they see my name anywhere, they're jumping on it, like dogs with a bone. And it really
Equality sucks, doesn't it? Hashtag white male privilege.
is upsetting because at the end of the day, you know, I was doing my job and I was doing it well. And I think being put in a position where you feel like you might not be able to do it anymore is a complete bummer.
It's horrible, but we see this happen.
Oh, so you're upset about cancel culture. Weird. Seems like this is some white male privilege. This is equality you've been waiting for. Like, this is literally you just being canceled and you're mad about it.
Constantly. I mean, I've reported on so many of these campaigns, especially against women journalists, and it happens to, you know, women across the board, especially
Women journalists and harassment. Uh-oh. I gonna take a wild guess and assume Taylor Lawrence never commented on Jason Schreier harassing Leanna Rupert, because that would be actually worth mentioning, because that would actually be psychologically devastating, because, you know, you can't just block Jason Schreier on fucking Twitter. He's literally one of the most powerful fucking people in the industry. His words actually mean something, so when Jason Schreier goes on a fucking sociopathic, angry fucking mentally ill rant at Leanna Rupert for no fucking reason, and no one in the industry ever comments on it, that's going to do way more psychological damage to a human being than a fucking bunch of conservatives saying some fucking women go in kitchen joke or some shit.
especially women covering online culture, as you mentioned, and video games, because I think these are very hyper online, engaged, radicalized communities. Why do
You mean like
you
feminists?
think media organizations are so scared? Like, why do you think they have learned nothing from Gamergate 1.0? Like, was there any improvement here? Because
I know this is wicked hard, but they agree with Gamergate 1.0. They think journalists should be more clear, and they don't believe your claims of misogyny. They probably, like me, checked out that whole FBI report investigation that, Anita Sarkeesian perpetuated.
it seemed like there was this whole reckoning around it, but now we have it happening again, and those same media companies that were publishing the think pieces about how, wow, wasn't that awful, it seems like they're making the same mistakes again.
Yeah, I think ultimately it all comes down to worrying what's going to affect your bottom line. And that's also why I think the video game industry leaders and these companies and publishers stay quiet as well, because I think they worry that the moment that you take a stance against something like this, you alienate a part of your audience. And in a media landscape where websites are shuttering left and right and shutting down.
As a left-leaning person with self-esteem, it's because we don't believe you sociopathic incel women. We know you're fucking psychopathic. And why would we? It's like these feminists are like, why don't you take our side? When it's like an alt-right conservative asking, why don't you take our side? The answer should be really fucking obvious, you stupid fucking piece of shit. You're a goddamn lunatic. That's why.
Or selling, or people are getting laid off. I think there's a fear that you would alienate people by loudly standing behind your employees who are getting harassed.
They just don't want to, nope. They just don't want to associate with sociopaths that literally harass people like you.
In some cases, I also think there are some people who are at the tops of these businesses that aren't necessarily all that worried about the way that these people behave, and maybe they don't necessarily disagree with some of the things these people say.
Mental gymnastics and confirmation bias along with no evidence. Things like this should really, greatly reduce how much a journalist is respected. Because I think journalists should just be have way more respect for themselves and their jobs, unlike this woman who clearly doesn't have any respect for herself or journalism, as she just says things clearly out of her ass just all the time.
The people who are in positions of power at these places are there for a reason, and I don't think they want anything that could upset that power balance. And I think seeing that somebody is getting sort of endless abuse for something that is a fairly left-leaning but innocent stance on something scares people who are at the top, because
you're not left-leaning, you're far left. The big difference. I'm left-leaning, my friends are left-leaning, no one at Kotaku is left-leaning, no one who likes Kotaku is left-leaning, anyone who likes Hassan Abi, not left-leaning, that's, again, far left. H-Bomber guy, again, far left. I'm left-leaning. I know what fucking left-leaning is, bitch. You don't ever fucking bring that up again, bitch.
They wonder, well, what happens if I take a stand? And so I think they're just quiet. And I think, quite honestly...
No. We know what happens when you take a stand and defend feminists. They turn into sociopathic, man-hating psychos with a victim complex and have some kind of mental breakdown or some shit like this.
They're cowards. I think a lot of people are really just worried
her calling somebody
about
coward.
Their KPIs, or they're really just worried about their page views. They're worried about how much money they can make for the site, and they think if we make a statement saying stop harassing someone, that section of the internet will no longer entertain us and no longer read us. And I think it really just is, it's cowardice, pure and simple.
You're not entitled to anyone's defense. This is the kind of women who have internalized misogyny and think men are gonna... This woman had her dad fucking protect her way too much in life, and when it stopped happening, she just fucking couldn't take it. She fucking expects men to fucking come in there and save the fucking day. I hate fucking misogynistic pieces of shit like this. You're an adult. Act like it. Why is it that feminist women are the only ones that act like children? Are the only ones that expect men to do shit for them? Fucking every single woman with self-esteem in my life just does their own shit.
In some cases, I think people are, like I said earlier, afraid of that eye turning towards them and attacking them. But that's why I've called for video game industry leaders and companies.
Yeah, that's actually why a lot of people won't criticize feminists. because they're just sociopathic incels like
to
this.
issue a joint statement that's just signed by a bunch of people. It doesn't need to be this sort of granular back and forth with these bad actors online. It could just be something as simple as the video game industry is diverse, the people writing about it are diverse, there's no conspiracy theory here, please stop harassing people, we don't stand with it. Signed every big leader in the industry, but it's not happening.
I feel like there's also, what these people fundamentally prey on is also the public's lack of media literacy. These independent
The fucking projection.
content creators are able to kind of go out, they're able to weaponize the traditional media because they know the traditional media is certainly not going to cover these campaigns. The traditional media doesn't really cover harassment campaigns against marginalized people generally. And so they're able to kind of...
Exactly. Why the fuck would they, you stupid fucking bitch? And anyway, you've yet to prove it's even a harassment campaign. You talking about how people aren't media literate. So many people are gonna watch this and not even realize you haven't fucking proved a fucking thing. And these aren't like tiny little claims. These are fucking extreme claims. A harassment campaign? That's fucking serious. That is an extreme thing to happen. It's rare as fuck. And to prove, that's very difficult to prove. This is like, oh man. FBI investigated and found no evidence.
push these narratives unchecked. There's also this idea from...
Push these narratives unchecked, she says. Self-awareness, zero. What about that conspiracy theory you're talking about, how there's this massive fucking harassment campaign? That's unchecked. You still haven't checked that one.
a lot of the same people in positions of power of don't feed the trolls, right? That you love to hear that saying.
No, as somebody who's a humanist, I say roast them. This is why I make fun of fucking feminists. They'll like... Feminists will talk shit, and they're the easiest fucking people to fucking make fun of, dude. You just say fucking... The feminist tries to troll you, fucking talk about nasty meat curtains, talking about how she's got stinky fish pussy, you know? Talk about, like, the level of stink coming from her puss, and I fucking guarantee you, any feminist trying to troll you will just shut the fuck up, dude.
All the time they say, don't feed the trolls.
So 100% feed them. It's the funniest fucking thing in the world. Don't talk shit to people unless you actually know what the fuck you're doing. But my advice is the opposite.
Seems like that kind of ignores the way the internet is currently set up, right? Where there are these people that have these powerful megaphones that can push these really dangerous and defamatory narratives about someone. And if you don't
projection?
respond, I feel like you just create this vacuum for these narratives to thrive. So I guess, how do you feel about that don't feed the trolls advice, and how have you sought to fight this misinformation and smear campaign against yourself?
It's so funny that you say that, because that was actually
By deleting the tweets of things she actually said?
something that was said to me multiple times by some people who I will not name when I was still working at Kotaku, and it frustrated me twofold. One, exactly what you're saying, the conversation of, well, this is defamation against me. It's also insinuating or saying outright that my journalistic practice is unethical, or that I'm lying throughout a published piece, and not saying anything about that kind of stuff is
I've played Battlefield 3 professionally. Arguably, I'm considered one of the best Battlefield 3 players in the world. Not even playing, not exaggerating, no bullshit. When somebody says I'm shit at Battlefield, or I don't know what I'm fucking talking about, do you want to know how offended I get? I don't care. If someone has some advice on a game I'm an expert on, and I unbelievably just so happen to not know it, appreciate it. If they're telling me something I already know, I'm cringing, but I'm not offended. Why the fuck are you mad, you stupid? I thought white men were supposed to have the fragile ego. What the fuck is this fucking fragile feminist ego shit?
little bit of a tacit approval. It's a little bit of a ooh, I don't want to say anything because I don't want them to pick that up and run with it. But when you don't say anything, they're running with it anyway. And I've learned that even when I don't say something that could piss.
You started it. and then you were mad that other people didn't like escalate it further. That's objectively speaking what's happening here.
Piss them off, they will find something to get angry about, whether it's a tweet from 10 years ago or it's a
What do you mean? That's this. I hate this. I hate this so much about being left leaning. This is my fucking. Okay, so now cancel culture is wrong. And now getting people's tweets from 10 years ago is not okay. Imagine saying the fucking same thing about some white male conservative, bro. Fuck that, you fucking stupid bitch, dude. Fuck off with that fucking privileged feminist incel bullshit. Now it's not okay to fucking mention something you said 10 years ago. Shut the fuck up,
retweet.
Bitch.
There's something that will consistently drive this outrage machine. So I believe you have to be smart with what you're pushing back on. And in some
She isn't.
some cases at first, I kind of felt like I was Captain America in that one scene, whatever movie it is, where he fights like 8 guys in an elevator. I kind of felt like I had to just go at everybody who was saying everything ridiculous about me, because the ridiculous level got to something that was, I mean, it was comical at a certain point if it wasn't tied to such scary, violent threats, but it got exhausting. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, what are things that are just really easily disproven?
Got exhausting. So she couldn't handle it. I could name countless examples, so I'll just name one. Went on the r cringe subreddit, a Reddit that claimed that there was no banning and that they would make fun of you to the point where you would want to actually leave the subreddit. I single-handedly managed to get them to change that rule by creating like 1 or 2 threads just roasting the admin to that subreddit for that rule, and how I'm gonna just make him my fucking bitch. Won't get into detail, but yeah. The entire subreddit tried talking shit. Well, 90%. The other 10% thought it was the funniest fucking thing they had seen in their lives. But yeah, 90% of the subreddit talking shit. I made each and every one of those people, fucking just like 100 different people, my fucking bitch, and I was ready for more. I eventually got permanently banned from Reddit for that, though.
Things that these big leaders are saying about how Call of Duty added bullets that had the trans flag on them, so you can kill people as a trans person, and I had to debunk that because I was like, that's an easy thing to knock down and say this is completely untrue. But what's frustrating
Again, this is the thing that I just hate being about left-leaning and having self-esteem. That's like one of those things like, I don't know, like Jewish lasers on the moon. Like, I don't care. I don't believe it. And it's such a stupid tiny thing that, like, if it is true, I'll just wait for the game to come out and then fucking see like 30 articles about it. And I wouldn't believe that was true in the fucking first place. And dumbasses are like, oh, I can easily, no doubt you can easily disprove it, you stupid fucking cunt. What are you, a fucking child? Fucking, this is what happens when somebody's babied their entire life. They think these non-accomplishments are just like so brave.
is the outraged people, the people who are consistently feeding this outrage machine. You can prove that something's untrue, unequivocally, and they'll just move on to the next thing.
The projection. This one won't prove any fucking claims. I can easily disprove all of her fucking claims about Gamergate, but that would be unfair and misogynist for me to take away a woman's ability to use the burden of proof. I wouldn't want to do that to a feminist. So yeah, hopefully she can Google search what the burden of proof is, and maybe one day any of these incel women will finally get evidence of Gamergate apparently being misogynist or harassing in any way that the FBI themselves were incapable of finding.
And so I don't really know what else can be done aside from kind of constantly going, that's wrong, that's wrong, because without these people being deplatformed from places like Twitter or YouTube for spreading disinformation or
So you just want people to be completely silenced. So, like, this is the thing that, like, in a perfect humanist society, I love this idea because that would mean idiots like this would be permanently banned from the internet and never allowed to fucking speak again. There'd be same thing with the alt-right. but it would mean fucking incels like this would be gone. That said, I think psychologically speaking, it's a wicked bad idea to do something like that because that would likely just create more anger, rage, and hate in people. I'm pretty sure when you silence them. So yeah, that's a piss poor idea in my
Other
opinion.
things that obviously get into illegal territory, they're just going to keep doing this because they're still getting the views and they're still getting the likes.
Like a
But
feminist.
the other thing that I thought about Don't Feed the Trolls is how inherently violent it feels to tell a woman being incessantly harassed online that their behavior has something to do with why that's happening. It really feels like when someone says that they were sexually assaulted and somebody asks them, well, what were you wearing?
There it is. As a actual abuse survivor, this is one of the most sociopathic incel things I've heard in my fucking life. Let's review this again.
Is how inherently violent it feels to tell a woman being
how violent it feels to tell a woman. Okay, words can't be violent, you stupid fucking cunt. And to tell a woman, so you have a superiority complex and you're a misogynist who sees women as somehow different from men. As a woman, as in, like, statistically less likely to be experience violence as a woman than men are. You know, that kind of, like, a woman like that, you mean? Like, why would you mention your gender there when it comes to violence when women are far, far, far less likely to experience any of it than men are?
being incessantly harassed online, that their behavior has something to do with what
Her behavior 100% had something to do with it. This is her comparison that this is somehow at all related to sexual assault is fucking insane. The arguments aren't even somewhat relatable. You're not experiencing violence. I like women like this. I straight up, I would love to fight this woman. I would love to fight her because I know she's never experienced abuse once in her life. She's never been a victim once. This is what happens. People talk about white male privilege. This is white woman privilege. This is what happens when you've never had to work a real fucking day in your life. She just gets to be a whiny little bitch online saying stupid ass incel shit that would get fucking if a man said any of the shit that she was saying about women, she would been canceled so fucking long ago, dude. She's just like one of these unhinged
why
incels.
that's happening. It really feels like when someone says that they were sexually assaulted and somebody asks them, well, what were you wearing? Or you shouldn't have had so much to drink. It just feels like your mere existence and the fact that you don't want to lay down and take it is why it's happening to you.
Nope. This is total lack of self-awareness. You're actually like as an abuse survivor, there's no part of this at all that even implies that this Alyssa woman is a victim in any way whatsoever.
And it's so upsetting and frustrating.
And also, if you do lay down and take it, it's worse, right?
Yep.
Like, I think that
Exactly what I fucking said earlier. So what she said earlier was completely fucking wrong, and we didn't want to address that at that time. So fucking Taylor decided to wait for 10 minutes later to drop that bomb in, so it didn't seem like she was making her look stupid. Nice one. Very socially intelligent of you,
that's
Taylor.
what people, especially these sort of people in positions of power that make that comment, they think that if you don't respond, it goes away. That's not true. They just don't have to see your response to it, right? It's out there. It's manipulating, people's perceptions of you. I also think it's a huge problem. I mean, you mentioned that.
You want to get feminists to stop talking shit? Talk to them the exact same way they talk to white guys. It's too fucking funny, man. Saying they look like rapists and they look like pedophiles, they fucking cannot handle it, dude. They can't fucking handle it, man. Just say you look like a rapist, then just say white male privilege. It's flawless victory. It's like Mortal Kombat shit. It's fucking just disgusting. Just destroyed. Spine out the fucking
your
back.
job and stuff, that people that run these media companies and are in positions of power, they will throw any woman right under the bus.
Nope. Talking about men. That's what feminists do to men, not women.
If there's any hint of controversy, whether it's deserved.
So whether it's deserved or not. So deserved controversy and women experience consequences. Sounds like fucking privilege to
or
me.
not. And I think that that is really scary because we see men court controversy all the time. We see straight men able to ride these cycles out, and it's like, oh, well, he's really bombastic.
Shane Gillis, the guy who got fucking fired from SNL, the same guy who apparently was doing a racist joke that there was no evidence of him being racist, and the entire joke was that he was literally making fun of racist conservative people, like that who fucking hate Asians and shit, and the joke is actually really fucking smart and good. And whereas at the exact same time, Melissa Villaseñor actually tweeted a bunch of fucking racist shit about Mexicans and bikes and shit around the same time, never fucking fired. Why you lying, cunt?
And he's a fighter, or he.
Oh yeah, most recent Olympics. Some guy made some stupid ass cringe joke about like women talking and gabbing around. It was both sexist and the least sexist thing I've fucking heard in my life. Fucking women say mansplaining and don't get fucking canceled. That dude got fired the fucking next day.
They're never framed as like controversial. Men can use controversy, and it is.
I can't believe, I genuinely am blown away by what I'm hearing right now. This is like so provably false, and the fact that I can easily just destroy these two fucking bitches by just mentioning two things that you can easily fucking look up like that. Fucking, where's the canceling for all the feminists who worship Donna Hilton, a torturing rapist? Why aren't they canceled?
Seen as like them standing up.
That's like another thing. Like, no one, when a woman says like some man-hating incel shit like mansplaining or hashtag kill all men, no one's finding out where they live, where they work, and then getting them fired. It's like there's this one viral video. Some people are going to know what I'm talking about. I barely even know what I'm talking about, but there's this one guy who wears like this like pink and white kind of like mask hat thing around his face, and he looks like really fucking ridiculous. I think he's like Omegle or Snapchat or fucking some kind of. Anyways, there's this one rival video where this like fucking really like fucking not ugly fucking like 20-year-old white woman says the N-word, and she just assumes she's going to get canceled and lose her job. And of course, nothing has happened
for themselves, or them taking control of the narrative, or fighting back bravely against these bad.
Again, and this is like another one of those things. Like, this woman is being canceled right now. We're talking about cancel culture. She's being canceled, and it's totally fine. No, I'm the only one calling her canceled.
Actors, when women try to do anything like that, they're chastised. And like you said, these media
what a lie, dude.
Companies will run scared.
It's funny, women with self-esteem have the exact opposite belief and fucking can't stand these stupid fucking incel bitches.
They will throw you under the bus so fast because they believe falsely that throwing you under the bus will quell the controversy. In fact, it's like throwing, red meat to the sharks, right?
No, it seems to work out great. We all agree with that decision. Instead of fucking they're following her around. The harassment is following her around instead of the company. The genius decision worked out perfect.
Absolutely. I mean, I've said this before, like cancel culture does exist, just not in the way that the right-wing people would have you think it exists, because you can see someone like Johnny Depp and that entire case against Amber Heard. Oh no, it's going to ruin his career. Oh no, she's trying to cancel him. Well, who is still doing, Dior Sauvage commercials for cologne?
Wow. I can't believe I have to explain this to anyone left-leaning. The fucking difference between Johnny and Amber is that one of them said, because of your gender, no one is gonna believe that I've abused you. That's the difference, you stupid ass fucking incel. Of course, the victim of that abuse isn't canceled, you dumb fucking incel. Holy brother. You cannot be that dumb, dude.
And who is living a quiet life in another country with their kid.
Wow.
And I think, I saw
Wow.
that firsthand. I saw how quickly this bombardment
How,
of people.
dude? That is, they just highlighted the privilege gap between men and women, dude. No mention of that comment. No mention that she literally mentioned the fact that his gender means that she is more privileged than him and that he will not be believed again because of his fucking gender. That is a extreme gap in difference between two things that people did. And people will be like, oh, he was drunk and on drugs. Like, first of all, you pussies, all of you drink, so stop acting like some micro-dicked pussy-ass piece of shit. That's fucking embarrassing. Second of all, yeah, you'd be fucking drinking too if you had to deal with some psycho-ass bitch who acted like men shouldn't be believed because of their gender. Plenty of really fuckable women don't say shit like that and would never dream of saying shit like that. And plenty of women don't shit the fucking bed either. So yeah, don't mention the shitting of the bed and don't mention this. These two are incels, straight up. I didn't genuinely before watching this, I didn't know anything about Lawrence, only the fact that conservatives hate Taylor Lawrence and she made fun of Raya Chaya something one time, and now I can totally see why the conservatives hate her, because I hate her too. Now she's fucking, what a dishonest fucking bitch.
People sending emails to my job and sending emails to places that I'm freelancing at. This clear attempt to deplatform me, which is so ironic considering how often the right wing screams about cancel culture and how
I'm left-leaning. I'm one of the people trying to cancel you. It's not right-wing people, sorry to let you know.
It's ruining everything. But the only time I've ever seen someone actually suffer from cancel culture or have any sort of ramifications for anything has been a woman or a person of color or...
Oh, well, I just brought literal examples of men recently experiencing cancel culture. In fact, Johnny, whatever this fucking name is, god damn, I can't believe I can't fucking, this is PTSD, not being able to remember fucking people's name, even though you've heard them a million times. Johnny and Amber, Johnny was, fuck sake, I got it.
So ironic considering how often the right wing screams about cancel culture and how it's ruining everything. But the only time I've ever...
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Johnny was canceled as well. He experienced the cancel culture as before that, when that whole thing came about, he was just assumed to be the abuser. It was concluded for months and months and months that without question, Amber Heard was the victim there. Came out, it was the opposite. And what's the conclusion of all these incel women? Somehow Johnny is the bad guy for being a man who wouldn't be believed, I guess.
Or seen someone actually suffer from cancel culture or...
It's weird how, like, incel women will just, like, completely ignore this shit.
Have any sort of ramifications for anything has been a woman or a person of color or a queer person because they dared to push back against
that literally just white men. No examples of women, queer, minorities, whatever the fuck she's talking about. Just white guys so far.
The ruling elite and the other people around them. And I just think it's ironic that we're sitting here worrying and bleeding about that when the only people who have suffered from it are the ones who are already in a bad enough position. It's incredibly frustrating.
It doesn't happen. Mentally illness.
Yeah, well, I think one way, at least I found, to kind of help mitigate these harassment campaigns is to cover them and to educate people about them so that when they see a campaign like this, they say, oh, that.
This is basically why I'm doing this. To help people realize that, like, conservative, left-leaning people hate these incels too, dude. It's like very, I forget what the term is, but it's, it's across both political spectrums. It's wild to me that these stupid ass incel women genuinely believe that conservatives have a problem with them. I'd be shocked if the majority was even conservative. I'm betting on the majority being left leaning who fucking hate this woman. Every time I've gone to a party, women like this get fucking women like this either don't fucking speak or they get roasted by everybody, including the women.
That's what this is. Oh, this is coercion.
It's like that joke where oh, you'd be fun at parties. fucking these two losers would not be fun at parties.
Coordinated networked harassment, I can recognize it for what it is instead of just saying, why is Alyssa so controversial or whatever. But I've noticed that the mainstream media, traditional media generally, doesn't cover these things. Like, you know, if for someone like you, right? Like, where do you even go?
They don't cover as like this is just so obvious as somebody anyone who has social intelligence and self-esteem is going to know why. It's because again, you're mentally ill psychopaths and you fucking deserve the harassment campaign, so we don't give a shit. That's what we call karma. That's what we call cancel culture. That's what we call white male privilege. You got it. You're not
To
liking
get
it.
your story out. It's not like there are journalists in these traditional outlets that even talk about these massive campaigns that are happening online. Generally, the traditional media tends to ignore the internet, I think, unless they're writing about how, like, Among Us, you know, is a problem. That's the extent of the games journalism. How do you educate people about these campaigns? How can we educate the public on how to recognize coordinated, you know, smear campaigns?
You're absolutely right. I spoke to the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Company, like immediately after my piece went live and the harassment started in March. It was an incredible interview. I was really proud of it. We talked about the harassment campaign. And then it was very clear that some people did not want me to continue to talk about this anymore. So I kind of went.
Literally, for your own mental health, you really need to shut the fuck up about it. Like, you're not gonna come out of this any better. It's like, insecure people don't get it. Anything you do that isn't like some kind of, it depends, of course, but with someone like this who has a superiority complex and a victim complex, anything she does that isn't uh, basically constantly humbling herself and constantly thinking about how she's not the greatest. She's just like everybody else. She's no better than the average white fucking conservative fucking gamer. She's just as cool or uncool as they are. That would be as just like a fucking unbelievable boon to her mental health and her overall self-esteem. Um, but yeah, doing shit like this for insecure people, again, with those kind of like complexes, is only gonna like further solidify the complex and only deepen the insecurity even more and make her even more fucking of a fragile feminist.
Quiet in terms of going and looking for places to have this conversation, but I kept having it on social media. I kept having it on TikTok or in my Instagram stories, just showing people just kind of the massive amounts of harassment and abuse that I would get on the daily. I mean, today somebody sent me a picture of their penis in an Instagram message saying, you know, since you're such a whore, you're gonna have this in your mouth soon. And
oh no, she's such a victim, dude. Oh my gosh. As somebody who survived real abuse, I don't know how she survived that. Oh my god. Fucking the trauma. Can you imagine having to like fucking look at a fucking I've had obese women send me their pussy and my god, it is it is seriously fucking traumatic. I understand where she's coming from. It's fucking gross, dude.
And I think people don't realize that when it happens like this and when it happens to you, it is kind of a nonstop barrage that anytime you pick up your phone, it's a very likely chance that you have something in one of your inboxes that would make my grandmother faint at the dinner table. I would love.
Oh, you should experience being a man. Having to deal with feminists? Holy shit. The amount of fucking harassment, stalking, fucking looking me up online, incel shit, calling me ugly when they look like this.
Love for traditional media to cover this more.
I've seen actually a bunch of the content that you've posted. I think you.
Can we just like for a moment just think about like Alyssa Mercante and what she's like wearing and how she's got her hair? Like she looks like the sweatiest white trash. She looks like she stinks of fucking like kitty litter, cat shit, and like fucking BO. Like I bet you can just fucking like there's just like that fucking stink. She's 100% like she doesn't wash her hair. She's like, oh my god, it's the oil.
Posted a great TikTok recently, sort of documenting your emotions and going through this over the past few months. And I feel like you've done a lot to raise awareness about this on your own channels. You're also pursuing legal action, which I think is something that most people don't do. Can you tell me about your lawsuit and how, you know, your decision to pursue justice?
She's so
Just
fucked.
through that system.
Yeah, I mean, the first time Gamergate happened in 2014, the internet was such a
See, Taylor said 2016 earlier.
Foreign concept to most lawmakers, judges, attorneys, that most of the women who kind of raise these issues, even with their police departments, when they would call and say, hey, somebody's threatening to come to my house, the overall response would just be kind of one of confusion. What do you mean there's someone online is threatening you? They're not there in person, right? So you're fine, right? It's not an issue, right? On a legal end, it was very...
Welcome to what it's like to be a man. It's wild how when feminist women experience white male privilege, they react like this. Like they think it's just them. Your first time?
Very difficult to kind of nail down exactly what these people were doing that was illegal, because there just weren't very many instances of lawsuits happening or
I literally, I went to the exact same thing with feminists sending me death threats.
proceedings going through that made it very clear that this kind of behavior was unacceptable. That has changed somewhat in the last 10 years. It's gotten a little bit easier to pinpoint illegality on the internet in the obvious ways of death threats and things like that.
I kind of agree with you in some of these points, just dealing with my own harassment. Like, sure, police understand the concept of the internet a little bit better. You might get a judge that understands how Twitter works, but I don't think there's any sort of real comprehensive legal precedent for holding these types of campaigns accountable. So how are you approaching it?
What a stupid ass fucking comment. Yeah, that would literally get feminists arrested though, so I'm down.
This suit.
So I'm suing one of the people who have been making content about me since March. His name's Jeff Tarzia. He's a content creator who primarily makes videos on YouTube. I'm suing him for defamation, stochastic terrorism, organized harassment, a couple of things that we kind of went through at length, you know, the benefits to any of these points.
Alyssa Mercante has filed a lawsuit with me. It's a very frivolous 54-page attempt at doxing me and attacking me and silencing me that isn't gonna work, and it never does.
This is somebody who has been making videos about me.
Good for him. Genuinely. I can't believe she's offended by this dude. What a fucking
For
insult.
months, many of which...
Oh, videos on you for months? I, as a somewhat notorious individual, known as Condor Calabasas, I have been the target of multiple harassment campaigns, and you know what? I would never pretend to be a victim or give a fuck about it, cause that shit's fucking goddamn hilarious. Doesn't make these people any less mentally ill. I'm not giving them a pass or anything. And just to be clear, what their experience is definitely not a harassment campaign, as they've provided no proof, and they're journalists, so kind of their job to fucking prove it.
Include thumbnails of me and interesting photos taken from I don't know where he found them online, and a lot of them contain pointed language that is technically legal, but some of them contain outright defamation, and obviously he is one of those below the big guys in terms of the organizers of this harassment campaign, but he is someone that has quite a large following, and a lot of the people who have seen the videos he's made about me have echoed the things that he said about me in my DM.
It's mental gymnastics. It's just because him and a lot of people like myself all just have the same opinion about you. Like, even fucking Stuttering Craig roasted this woman. I'm not going to get into who that is, but it's like one of the nicest people in the gaming industry. If Stuttering Craig is talking shit about you, you are like less than shit. He's too nice, okay?
And elsewhere, and it's just been very clear that there has been a lot of slandering of my name and my character and my ability as a journalist. And so for me and my legal team,
why does sociopaths fucking smile like that? You look like you look like the Joker, bitch.
It was the best case scenario of who we should try to have some modicum of a consequence for.
Stop
there
smiling.
Is clear-cut examples of what we believe are defamation, and there is a laundry list of content that this person has been making about me for months and making money off for months. So I'm hoping...
Yep, that's equality. Just like you made money off of all those people that you talked about. I guess this non-existent Gamergate 2 should be suing you then? Is that because of the non-existent harassment campaign that's apparently happened? Imagine that. So, let's say there's like they were talking about earlier about how there'd be consequences for harassment campaigns, right? Okay, so let's say this harassment campaign actually has like organization. Let's say this Gamergate 2.0 has organization and shit, right? Let's say they got a leader. Because of these reasons, court has found it that they can actually, like slap a charge on these people, a harassment campaign charge or whatever the fuck. That would mean that this same group, this Gamergate 2, because of the total bullshit lack of evidence of a harassment campaign that there's no evidence of, and let's be real, Gamergate 2 doesn't fucking exist in the first place, they would be able to sue these two cunts and they would fucking 100% win for defamation. This is why I hate stupid fucking bitches. Holy goddamn shit, that's unbelievable.
I'm hoping, I don't know how confident I feel because the legal system I still feel is very far behind, but I'm hoping that this could be something that people could look towards as a rare example of somebody latching on to the back of a harassment campaign and benefiting financially off of it while, seriously affecting the life of one person in their sites. I think
Again, as somebody who's survived real abuse, holy fucking shit, you're not a victim of fucking YouTuber making fun of you saying incel shit, you fucking incel. Literally said, you suck dick. And then he was like, haha, she said she sucked dick. And now she's like, oh my god, he's whatever me. Because he said I suck dick, even though that's literally exactly what I said. Stupid fucking bitch.
my life has changed dramatically because of all of this. And
oh, now she's such a victim, dude. Isn't it fucking funny? Isn't it fucking funny, man? She's the most badass human being on the world, and like she's like so brave for taking us on. She's just like Captain America, like she said earlier. She's fighting back. Also, she's such a victim, and her life is so much harder now. And like, oh my god, holy fuck! That's the before we had the superiority complex coming out with the Captain America comment, and now we have the victim complex coming out with this comment.
I don't think that's fair. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the
And then she laughs after that fucking sociopathic laugh, like she's having a great time. Fucking so many incel women do this. I don't know. I hate it so much. I get it. They laugh because somebody told them at one point in time they look fucking really, really pissed off when they say shit, and that hurt them deeply because insecure people really don't like their emotions being on display. It's like, which is just, as somebody with self-esteem, like, who gives a fuck, you fucking loser. So yeah, that's the why she's fucking, they smile like that.
profit is such a key part of it. In the meantime, I guess what can people do to support those who are targets of this type of stuff? I mean, to support your work?
Or to put it another way real quick, Alyssa Mercante, sorry, is one of the people where you say, you mad bro, and she will have a fucking mental breakdown.
And stuff now that you are independent, like how, I don't know if you can pay your legal fees, like how it's been going. How can people get involved who want to put a stop to these types of cycles?
There's a couple of things. Obviously, I started a Patreon and I regularly stream on Twitch now. It's twitch.tv/AlyssaMerc. I'm trying to do kind of a hybrid gaming and covering like tech and video game news. Just kind of testing it out to see if that medium is a good place to have these kinds of conversations. And I have my Patreon, which I'm doing some original writing on, some behind a paywall, some not. I'm applying for jobs, obviously trying. But in terms of support, I mean, just getting the word out there, and also, honestly, it seems so silly, but reaching out to me and just like giving me a virtual pat on the back or an I've got your back is huge. And
I'm gonna do the opposite.
also for the large.
That's a slight lie. I've already done the opposite to her, and she already blocked me. I'll do it again, though, just for fun.
Sure, the people who are not, just us lowly journalists that are, struggling to make rent in New York City or elsewhere, but the people who are leaders at these companies and leaders in these spaces, I think a little bit more vocal support for not just me, but the other people who are facing harassment, I think would be huge. Again, that vacuum of not saying anything.
Who's facing harassment? Other sociopaths being canceled by cancel culture, experiencing white male privilege? Sounds like equality to me. Sounds like a good thing.
Anything leaves a lot of space for people to continue to pile on. And also, I would say if you come across something that is so blatantly violating terms of service, at least give it a report. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's better than just me feeling like I'm constantly monitoring my own harassment, which gets exhausting.
Well, it's traumatizing.
Again, someone who suffered real abuse and actually like talk shit to people online. I cannot imagine being so fucking insecure and pathetic that you would actually request backup online from friends, followers, whatever. Holy fucking shit, what a goddamn loser, man.
Right? I mean, you are forced to because, I hate this idea as well, where it's like, well, just don't read it or whatever. For your own safety, you do need to read what people are saying. Again.
Statistically speaking, men are way more likely to be murdered. So, objectively speaking, you ladies definitely don't need to worry about it.
To report threats, to escalate things, like, and there is no service that can just.
So, like, if you're a man and a feminist is threatening you, 100%. But if you're one of these women, don't worry about it. Statistically, you got no worries.
Go in, and I've always wanted something like this, just like monitor all of your mentions, right? Like celebrities have, I guess, and like deal with things and escalate things. So you manually have to read the most vicious stuff about you. I mean, I think it would lead any normal person to have severe PTSD and trauma.
Sometimes.
I have PTSD, you stupid ass fucking incel. Alright, to explain PTSD, it is theoretically possible that something small could trigger it and cause you to have long-term PTSD, like damage or whatever, right? Theoretically, it's possible. The idea that seeing mean comments online would cause you PTSD or trauma, even a lot of them, not only makes very little sense as think of a PTSD reaction as like what happens when your brain gets overloaded with a bunch of fucking bad shit all at one time and your brain basically can't handle it or can't make sense of it or can't like fucking process it or whatever, and then bam, PTSD. That's how you get PTSD. So the idea that you reading a tweet, scrolling down, reading another mean tweet, scrolling down, reading another mean tweet, and this would somehow cause trauma is completely absurd and goes against psychology in general and is one of those things. This is an example of toxic femininity where and a superiority complex where this Taylor Lawrence believes she's an expert on psychology because she's a woman. A lot of fucking feminist women think this for some reason. I don't really fully understand where exactly it comes from other than a superiority complex and a desire to kind of like take back what power they feel they've lost. But yeah, holy shit, what a dumbass.
And you think that you're okay, and then you just kind of have like a moment where either you're just so tired that you break down, or
so you're having breakdowns over words on the internet, but you're like still so brave and you're having a great time and you just want to like talk more trash and like all kinds of crap like that. It's like the lack of self-awareness, it's just remarkable. She's both at once. She's the most badass human being in the world and she like fucking loves it and she's gonna make you guys so fucking mad and it's so funny how fucking mad you guys are, and also she's such a victim and like why are you guys so mad? Why don't you just like leave her alone and don't even like reply to her, read her tweets, just let her fucking say some unhinged fucking incel shit and fucking ignore her. She doesn't have to experience consequences, dude. She's a feminist. They're not used to that, bro. Come on.
For me, I would just read these things all day and almost like a car crash obsession at a certain point where I was like, wow, this can't get any worse, right? It can't get any worse, right? And then it would get worse and worse. And I think I started noticing.
That is wild to me because when I'm reading feminist, sending me all kinds of like psychopathic shit. You should have seen these two feminists. I actually made one of them quit Twitter. Fucking this one land whale. She like talked about rape statistics, and I corrected her, saying we actually know nothing about rape statistic or sexual assault statistics, and anyone who says otherwise is a sociopath. And she, of course, got really upset by that because feminists, have a victim complex. And then I just said she looks like a rapist over and over, and it's just like the funniest fucking shit. That white male privilege shit. It's too
Noticing
good.
that, like, even the most innocuous comment after me reading something terrible all day would be the thing that broke me. And I think it was just the volume after a while. And
I'm not bullshitting you. I don't think I've ever read a comment that even like fucking upset me. There's been times when I've been so fucking tired I couldn't think of a good comeback, and that pissed me off, and so I just went to bed. But the idea of like even being upset, let alone having a mental breakdown over some real sadistic, mean as fuck internet comments that I would get a bunch of. No, it's always been fun to me, and this is what I hate about the fragile feminist ego. This fucking bitch has no self-awareness.
the fact that it doesn't stop is pretty wild. I mean, my old
Cancel culture sucks. You deserve it. White male privilege. Welcome to
company
it.
did offer Delete Me, which is a service that's supposed to keep all of your personal information offline. But these people who are the worst actors in this space, and I mean, these are the ones who are gathering in these really strange, dark corners of the internet. These people, this is their entire life, finding information about people. And so having that service only kept them away from finding my information out for a little bit, and then they found it anyway. They found it through some sort of loophole or some mistake that somebody had made, and the next thing I knew, someone was posting pictures of the inside of my apartment. And so it is scary.
Welcome to being a man.
It is overwhelming, and it's also very difficult to explain it to someone who's not always online, because there is that kind of, we'll just turn off the computer.
Because that would be really good advice for you.
It's not that simple.
There's also the
It is that simple for you. That's what you need to do. You can't handle it. I can. People like me can. You can't. No matter what somebody says in my YouTube comment, fucking test me. Test me. Come on. I won't even ban you. You won't get reported by me for damn sure. Write whatever the fuck you want. Say the meanest shit you can think of. Fucking hell. I grew up roasting people and being roasted. I don't take these fucking insults seriously the way fucking losers like this do.
the idea of where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think we see this especially when we look at women and marginalized people. It's this idea of, I like Alyssa and her reporting seems good, but she's so controversial. They just say this about everyone. Obviously, I get it too. Like, we all see this happen, and it's how they drive people, marginalized people, women, like, out of the industry by stigmatizing them. And if you respond,
You're literally worshipped in the industry. Women have infinitely more privilege in the gaming industry, despite the fact that, excluding mobile games, which no one would include mobile games, men still make up the majority in the gaming industry, alright? And women are represented way more than they actually are in the industry.
you're asking for it. And if you don't respond, you're just going to be steamrolled and absolutely put up no fight while your entire career is destroyed. And the narrative about all of
Equality
this
sucks.
hard work that you've done for years is twisted, and you just become sort of known for your controversy, which is what they want, right? Because you are
Equality sucks, dude. Cancel culture, it's the worst.
doing good journalism, and they don't want you to know, they don't want you to be known for your journalism. They want you to be known as controversial because it makes it easier for you to be dismissed.
Absolutely. And it has been incredibly difficult, especially since we filed the lawsuit last week. We just filed it, which it was in the works forever. It's been incredibly difficult for me to sort of take measured approaches to this kind of stuff, because it is very frustrating to see, especially within the last few days since the filing, even more defamation defamation, lies, and slander spread that I just kind of have to sit on. And that is something that I understand it, and I know that it's short-term pain for potentially long-term gain, or at least some type of consequence for somebody who has been doing this. But I think I prepared myself for it, but I don't think I prepared myself enough, because now it's gotten to another level that I'm like, can this go any higher? Like, what the limit does not exist. Like, why is this happening?
I completely empathize.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I'm so sorry, for what you've gone through, but your work is.
Don't be sorry. She deserves it. As an actual abuse survivor, she's not a victim. Don't need to even feel slightly bad for her.
Amazing. I hope people follow you, watch your streams on Twitch, support your Patreon, and I hope that more online culture, writers pay attention to this, and I hope that these mainstream media companies that continue to throw journalists under the bus pay attention to what they're doing, because I think it's been very concerning the past couple years watching these media companies, again, just sacrifice women, people of color, anybody deemed controversial, because they think that will sort of distance themselves from controversy. In fact, what they have shown is that they are willing to bend the knee to these really nefarious people online. And once those people recognize that these media companies will cave to
Did you not see the intergalactic reveal?
that sort of external pressure, it gets even worse, right? They get even more power. They don't stop at one journalist or one woman.
No, unfortunately.
Isn't it weird how I was able to provide examples this entire time and they weren't? Well, that's not entirely true. They had some examples, but 90% of the claims were not provided any explanation.
As much as you and I try, we can't fight every fight and make these massive strides without support of larger media organizations or even louder voices in the industry, because it's very easy.
It's weird. The guy you're suing is doing it by himself. Why do you need help?
To push one of us or both of us off to the side and write us off as controversial figures, just for, guess what, someone else to step into that space and have that happen to them too, because now the bad
Nope. Literally, it's only happening to incel women.
actors have learned that when they behave badly, when they throw their toys out of the pram, someone will...
I guarantee you, as somebody left-leaning, I will never be canceled by conservatives. No alt-right dude is gonna fucking have any fucking issue with me. Well, alt-right dudes will probably have a fucking issue with me, but the average conservative would never even dream of trying to cancel me, and the only kind of left-leaning people that would cancel me are feminists. It's literally the two extremes would only have a problem with me. So this idea that she's terrified of being canceled and it'll happen to you, I don't have that fear at all whatsoever. I could say fucking feminists look like rapists and I'm not concerned about being canceled.
We'll pick them up and put them back in and they'll get a pat on the head for it. And yeah, I think the more that happens, the more that this will continue.
Well, Alyssa, thank you so much for sharing your story and chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me. It was a great time.
That's all for the show.
Oh, that was good stuff. Fuck, she is fucking nasty as fuck. I can't believe she actually chose to dress like that. Put her hair like that. And those fucking earrings. This is obviously just fucking incel subreddit. Yeah. She seems to be very easy to provoke and at times reacts to baiting with the same amount of fire or venom herself. She's got a fragile ego. She's got a victim complex. She's just as trash as any alt-right conservative psycho she's talking about. And I'm not saying the guy she's suing is one of those people. I'm just saying the people that she tends to have issue with are people like no one gives a flying fuck about. So it's just like, she's a total fucking loser. Anyways, that is finally it. Holy shit. That's a long video. Sorry it was so long, I guess. Some people apparently like videos, but I had to fucking destroy this bitch. People this mentally ill need to be bullied, as feminists say themselves. So, welcome to equality, welcome to white male privilege. How you like that? What do you have to say, co-host? How did you like that video? I agree. I couldn't have said it better myself, personally. So yeah, that's it. That's the show. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor, do me a favor, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. You know, talk some shit, make fun of me. See how little I give a fuck. Thanks for watching. See ya.